Hello, my friends, and welcome to Manufacturing Transformed. I'm your host, Paul, and today we have a great conversation with a really special business, but I will apologize in advance. The quality of the audio is just not great. I went on site with this recording, and I thought I brought a brilliant setup with 3 different microphones and a camera, but we were in a small, noisy room, and there was a lot of echo, and the quality just is not what I expect. So I apologize for that in advance. I hope you still listen. It's a great conversation. This is a very special business. I interviewed Andrew's parents, Bob and Heidi, on episode 30 of Machine Shop Mastery back in June of 2023. And in this episode, we really just dig in about the impact that ProShop has had on Prosper Tech. And they are doing a lot of things right in this business. And we're really proud that ProShop is one of the tools they're using to grow their business well. And I love this business where Bob and Heidi have grown it for many years. And now Andrew and Gabby are really taking the reins and are going to turn this into even more of a special business than it already is. So enjoy the conversation. Again, apologize for the audio quality, and let's get into it.
All right, Andrew, Gabby, so great to be here with you guys.
We're glad to be here too.
Happy to be here. Thanks for opening the doors. I was just, as we were saying before we record, I did a Machine Shop Mastery podcast with your parents just over 2 years ago, middle of 2023. And just hearing the story of your dad, the business closing down and buying some equipment and moving to the garage. And, a year later, hiring 6 months later, hiring some folks and then moving. And at the time, you had way less equipment than you have today. So you guys have grown tremendously in the last 2 years. And, it's kind of the American dream. I know it's a nightmare sometimes because it's so intense. But what you guys are building here is super cool. It's amazing to, be a partner with you guys and help you do what you do. So
appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's, maybe for those that didn't, and I will refer to the particular episode for people to go listen to the other one, but just give us a little snapshot of what Prosper Tech does today, what kind of machining you specialize in, industries.
Sure. So Prosper Tech provides CNC milling and CNC turning services, primarily to aerospace and medical device customers. We have a full quality lab, cleaning station as well. Mm-hmm. Typical parts that we do are on the mill side. Multi-axis parts are typically handheld. A lot of aluminum enclosure chassis type parts. Mm-hmm. On the 3-axis mill side, we'll go up to 26 inches by 40-inch parts. Mm-hmm. On the turning side, most everything we do is tough to machine materials, a lot of Inconel and stainless, mostly little fitting work, aerospace fitting, or larger flange type work up to 14-inch diameter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so some tough parts out there that we saw like to our
customers. Typically, like our sweet spot for order sizes, it usually starts at the NPI phase. Mm-hmm. So we don't do a ton of prototyping. We better service customers when they're ready to actually place their first orders, and then we can fulfill their needs to get their product launched.
Sure. And I know that was from the previous episode with the parents. It was a big shift from what the company originally did with more injection mold tooling and repair and tool and die work.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
So those efforts to diversify into more part production away from tooling, they started many years ago, but started getting traction back in, I think it was 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, around when we got married. Yeah.
So, Prosper Tech was founded in 2007, and especially in the Metro Detroit area, just about everybody was affected in one way or the other from the recession that happened.
Of course.
So my father's company went out of business, and that's when they started it in the garage. Right. And at that point, I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
So very impressionable.
Yeah.
And
sure.
Very impressionable and aware of what was going on too.
Your parents told you, do not go into the business. They told them, don't even look at the business. Don't go into machining.
Don't you dare work for an oil company.
So you're both engineers.
Yep.
And you worked in Romania for a while for a big multinational company.
Yes.
So yeah, we're both mechanical engineer by education from the University of Michigan. We actually met on a study abroad trip in Ghana.
Oh, wow.
Super random. Yeah.
That's cool.
So we met on that, started dating, and then we both worked for large scale like consumer products manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, specifically we made, I made Tide Pods, and then Gabby made
The liquid laundry.
liquid
Yeah.
detergent.
So like 60% of the like Tide liquid detergent came from my manufacturing lines.
Yeah.
So,
So we actually at that company, we both started as process engineers and then moved quickly into more operations management
Mm-hmm.
with their production lines. And then the last role we did before coming back to Prosper Tech were launch roles for a new facility that was a brownfield expansion in Romania. So
we said yes. We had a daughter at the time who we said yes in January. Her first birthday was March, and then COVID hit right then in March.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to do like a site visit or anything like that. And we moved during COVID that August 2020 sight unseen to Romania and did that role there. It was wild. Yeah.
So it was about that time though where we were starting to have the conversations with my parents about what they were going to do when they retired. Like I said, the business was getting a little bit more traction. Not so much in terms of size because they were making, the business was doing well. It's been around for 18 years, but just the client profiles were starting to become a little bit more attractive, a little less auto,
Yeah.
more aerospace. And then for us with
We were
one child.
Yeah, we were trying to think, what did we want our lifestyle to be? We were going to come back from Romania. Where would we end up? We wanted to be closer to family. So we started having the conversations with his parents. What if we were to come in? And they thought we were joking at first, actually. So they're like, why would you leave a flashy job to come move to Richmond, Michigan?
It took some convincing.
Yeah.
But it was something that we both wanted to do. And it was one of those things where you look around in the room and then you look at people, 25 years older than you, and do you want to be that?
Sure.
Yeah.
And yes, but no. At the same time, I just didn't the corporate kind of career path. It was fine, but
It's not
lost it.
ready.
Yeah.
Especially had one kid and we were looking at our second, because we know we wanted at least two kids, and it became really hard for both of us to have a career.
Yeah, because we were both like, they wanted us to be plant managers, but there was only so many locations where we both could be plant managers. So would one of us have to step back, et cetera? We were trying to figure out how we would balance our career aspirations as well as with our family ones, especially as we wanted to have a bigger family. So made the decision, moved back when I was pregnant with the second one. Yeah.
We moved back you moved back in November.
Yeah.
I moved you back, and then I went back
To launch
December.
the last line.
to finish my line launch, and then we came back for Christmas and we had our child in January.
Yeah,
So
January 11th. Yeah.
it was a crazy time.
So now you have a third.
Yeah, now we have a third. So
Yes.
yeah.
But my start on machine was I've been, exposed ever since when my father was a machinist. But
Mhm.
when they started the company in the garage, it was, you saw everything out there.
Yeah.
And then in college, in the mechanical engineering program, they make you go, there's like project classes where I have a picture somewhere of Gabby on a Bridgeport.
Yeah, for the, yeah.
But so you learn there, but I also did Baja SAE.
I did formula.
Yeah, very
Transformational.
very good program. There's a reason why the top engineering firms recruit directly through there.
Absolutely.
Just some of the most high agency type people that I've ever met in the engineering field come from those programs because they can just make stuff. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And had you worked like in the shop, running machines or sweeping?
He was a broom sweeper. We have some pictures. Yeah.
So on my resume, it was listed
Internship.
as a technical intern at Prosper Tech after my freshman year of college because I struggling to get like a name brand.
Sure.
And then I would always help out weekends or after school or whatever. At the beginning, my parents would, you're taking any job you can. So I would be with my dad as he got like service calls. If they had a tool crash at one of his customers, needed to do a field repair. I remember vividly going with him.
Okay.
And then I used to like tear apart the molds on the bench for him.
Oh wow.
Drilling water lines on our big radio line drill.
Okay.
Things like that. Never like sitting down like CNC programming
Sure.
per se, but doing the shop hand type stuff.
Well, it's good foundational stuff just to understand drawings and parts and tools and everything.
Yeah. And then every move that the company did, like me and my brothers always were part of the help too.
Right.
Yeah. Get it moved and clean up the new place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good way to earn $1 and earn hard work.
Yeah.
They paid you, maybe they didn't. But
I think they did. I think they did. But they were parents, my parents.
Yeah.
So, yes, they did pass. I don't know how much, but yes, they did. Officials.
So then the company, grew. You guys got involved, started to grow, started to need more systems, more processes, software to organize things.
Yeah.
What led you to look for an ERP?
So we had a study. We looked into how would we plan our succession planning. So that was a big discussion. How are Bob and Heidi going to retire? How are Andrew and I going to join the team? And what are gaps within our company to be able to enable that? And one of the gaps identified was like the sales and marketing process, as well as like having some sort of ERP MES system. And that's kind of, we went into digging into researching different ones. Bob and Heidi had it on their radar, but they had not interacted with ERP and MES systems before because they had only worked here or in, it wasn't as involved in their other companies.
They had a great clipboard based system that, it
worked.
Sure.
They got AS 9100 certified off of clipboards.
Yeah.
So
Been done all the time.
Yeah.
It's possible.
So it's like, that's like difficult mode.
It's
It's possible. It's a lot of work. But it just wasn't,
wasn't scalable.
we hit a complexity section. And right away when they were kind of hitting it already, and then right away when Gabby and I joined, it was unmanageable at that point.
Got it.
So we had to do something.
Okay. And what was critical to here with the research you did for finding a tool that was going to be the right fit?
So I guess the biggest thing that jumped out at us with ProShop was that it was actually made for machine shops.
Yeah.
So we looked at some other ones on the market, and other ones could have worked for where we were at the time just fine, I'm sure. But I wanted, myself and Gabby and Bob and Heidi, we all wanted something that we would do once and could grow with it and not have to change, because we knew we had both been part of software implementations. We knew it was going to be, it's not just adding new software, it's changing the culture.
Yeah.
And we knew that it was going to be a heavy lift.
It's a big initiative.
Yeah. And ProShop was kind of in the sweet spot. Like Andrew said, it was targeted for machine shops, but in terms of like where it was development wise, it was developed fully, that it was implemented in shop. So it wasn't like one of those that was like still in development. We would meet with like the engineers and they'd be like, well, we could make whatever report you want. And it was like pivot tables. Like I knew, and it was like, okay, that's not what I want because you don't have any systems. And then when we went the full other way, and it was like archaic with like, it was from like the 80s, 90s, like type ERP MES system. So ProShop kind of fit the bill in terms of being updated and something that we could grow with, but was still like established enough that it wasn't loosey-goosey startup mode type thing.
And it's a big process to implement any system, let alone what we consider like the digital backbone of the company. And doing that during high growth, which sounds like you guys have been on for years now. That's hard. Maybe talk a little bit about, the trainer you had and just like what that process was like, just onboard it and get the team to start using it.
Yeah. So officially, I believe Gabby, you were they called the ProShop champion.
Yes.
General champion. Our trainer was Rick at the time. And I mean, we went through the web-based trainings, but I will say that the vast majority of our company is very much like do it and learn.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So we really leaned on like the internal champion approach, where Gabby and I would do the web-based training. Honestly, most of the pro shop functionality is pretty intuitive, but that's not the case for everybody.
Sure.
People, different backgrounds, different
Teaching
usage of
people.
softwares.
Yeah.
So with Gabby and I both kind of learning as the champions, we would then train.
Yeah. So we chose like different modules to focus on first. So I helped build out like the equipment module, the tool module, and I was the one setting it all up. And then I would go and focus on the people that would utilize those different modules and then get them comfortable with those modules. In terms of like work orders and parts setup, we focused on like one customer first, got people used to it for those customers, for that customer, and then we would expand to additional ones. And then it kind of like baby stepped them into it.
So it's sort of a hybrid, some digital, some still the clipboard system for other customers.
But it was only for like maybe a month or two. Really,
we dropped it pretty fast, but it was more. We just had to keep it for that period of time because some of our customers we do like longer term blanket orders.
Yeah.
So some of the ones that we were already like halfway through the blanket on, kind of kept. And then we were very much adjusting based on how our team was receiving.
Yeah.
But one thing that since we were growing so fast, every new person we hired, they didn't know anything different. So actually the new people were more of our champions, like our new employees, because they didn't know any different and they just had to click around to figure stuff out anyways. So they started teaching everyone else, and then it kind of like fed off of that, I'd say.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is that we were just very choiceful on focus areas in our modules. Because, well, like I said, we were shopping for a software that could grow with us. We knew right away that there was functionality that we wouldn't touch for maybe some years.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that was the beautiful thing is that when we were ready for it, we knew we wouldn't have to make the change.
So once you started using it on work orders sort of throughout, any anecdotes of sort of what changed with the workflows or the fact that you didn't have these clipboard systems anymore? Things got easier or more accountable, more transparent, visible?
Yeah. The biggest benefit that I saw and I continue to see is information availability. So really everyone has all the information to process a work order right there at their fingertips. So it gives people a lot of agency to get stuff done. And before that wasn't always the case, because before if you were programming a job and you needed some tooling ordered, well, one, you'd have to go and ask the receptionist, hey, where is this PO been sent or what's the due date?
Sticky note, like order this, and then the receptionist didn't know what that tool was because they didn't have training in it. So it's like
we were purchasing through QuickBooks desktop version,
right?
Which is kind of a side note. At the same time we did ProShop, we did a QuickBooks Online migration, so we could have more visibility on the accounting side too.
Sure.
So now everyone programming a job or anyone in quality or even in finishing, when they have to pull up to see what's going on, everything is right there for them.
And do you find one of the pieces of feedback we often hear is that in a paper system, you get an order, it turns into a travel or some kind, and then it has to physically move around. And people may not even know you have that job until it lands on your desk. So you can't pick off multiple work streams simultaneously.
So we utilize like the scheduling module, and then we check our due dates through ProShop, and then we also assign them to planners. So if a person's responsible for that job, they can just pull up their queue. So it makes tracking a lot easier. I was pulling my hair out because we didn't have the data like that you need to even know if we were behind on something. So you have to go to the clipboards.
Well, it's just so much nicer to be able to see, like clicking on the part module and seeing all the upcoming orders for that. For people that previously, like an ops manager or someone in the shipping area wouldn't necessarily be thinking at part level, but we do have them working in the part level because they put stuff in inventory. So like people understand how to like navigate now and understand the difference between a part and a work order, not just numbers. Like it means something to them. So that's built a lot of capability within our people that they can work autonomously. Like Andrew said, ordering tooling. Now the person that orders the tooling, they don't have to be like a machinist background if the tool is set up properly by the whoever's putting in the tool and establishing it, getting the quote, everything signed up. Vendors. It's like a very seamless process. They can receive the tooling and then it's easier to do that without having that actual background in that.
Well, I'm curious, this question is not on the list, but coming from your background, working at a big company, you must have seen, more sophisticated software and workflows and then coming to a very small business on paper. Like what in your background of, I'm sure that was a great learning experience of like what a more mature company looks like and how things flow. Maybe just talk about how that informed the way you're building this company.
Well, there was almost too much data. When we worked at P&G, I mean, we had teams of people that were building dashboards, maintaining dashboards. Neither of us worked on like the data collection teams. We were in the ops management. So I knew, and Gabby knew, you don't need that much data to know what the right decision to make is on a day-to-day level. So you need some, but you don't need to know like the process reliability down to the 0.1%. It's like, are you 90% or are you 60%? And what's the action? If you're 65% or 60, really that much different.
Right.
So it definitely and then the other thing we had to consider when we came here is that I knew how much work it was to maintain data. So, and looking around at the company, like if you ask, for a small company, if you ask someone to do something, then they can't do another thing. Right. So it's a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's something that we've been very mindful of. And we never, at least to today, I hadn't felt that the pro shop maintaining the data in there is non-value added or like extra work for just tracking metrics just to track them.
Got it.
And I did feel like that before.
Okay.
In a more corporate environment.
Yeah, we think every metric that's tracked in ProShop provides value and there's not a lot of extra fluff, which is good. It's giving us the exact information that we need to be able to, like Andrew said, make those business decisions as well, and be able to communicate that down to our employees too. In terms of like other skills, though, we really had to look into like building teams and developing out the company. So when we joined, how many employees were there? There was
we were about 10. And
So
now we're over 30 full-time employees.
yeah, so that's in 2 years. Yeah. And it's not the same 10 people are in there either, because things have changed. So
well, that's something, because I hear a theme that comes up a lot is everyone wants more production work. Or like batch production work.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that no one realizes is that every time you move up the food chain, is that your fundamental work and the feel of the company changes. If you're just doing onesie, twosies, kind of offshoots, I call it as a joke between Bob and Heidi and Gabby, like a Bob's Garage CNC.
Yeah.
Like if you're running that type of work where you're just getting it apart and getting it out the door,
getting it done. Yeah.
it can be really fun. If you
Second shift, you just make it work, and it shows up in the morning. The part's done.
Those are some of the best environments to learn how to program and make parts in. But when you go into batch production, when you're making something for 2 or 3 weeks, you just don't have the same opportunity. So as the company has grown, the type of work has also grown, where the value added is not anymore so much making one part; it's making 500 parts efficiently with good tool life and low scrap. Totally different type of work.
Sure. Yeah. Different focus, different emphasis on what's important.
Different environment. And that's what That's what Andrew and I like to do, though. We like to like find things and optimize them. We always talk like we would never have started a company on our own. Like we are like not those type of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So yeah. But we love seeing like some opportunity and like optimizing it or that's kind of and growing things. So that's even what we did previously. So yeah.
Well, is it that mentality that drew you to engineering in the first place?
Yeah.
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 So always like just making something a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially like we're both mechanical, but I like knew going into mechanical, I didn't necessarily want to do like design. I worked with all like on project teams. Like I was like the manager of the team, making sure everyone was working and moving efficiently. And that's just always been my like sweet spot. So coming into here was a good opportunity to be able to grow this and kind of Andrew and I could bounce things off of each other based off our skill sets because he had the more machining background, technical skills in that sense. But he could trust me to interact.
So when we were just about to hit record, I asked for your guest Wi-Fi. We're like, I think I know what it is, but it's in ProShop.
Yeah.
Like auditors like to see that when they come. Let's talk a little bit about, with the growth, comes lots of customer visits and customer quality teams, and are they going to approve you? And maybe just how, ProShop and just all the things you've incorporated flowed into getting those approvals or pressing those auditors.
Yeah, we actually had to switch our auditor because we had an auditor for AS 9100 that we had used multiple times that was used to our clipboards. And the first year that we had ProShop, he wanted us to print everything out of ProShop for him, just keep printing it all. And I was like, I could just show it to you. And when he left, he was like, maybe you guys should request a different auditor. He passed us, but he suggested it. He pulled Heidi aside. But every other auditor or customer or even like a supplier that's come to visit and we utilize ProShop and communication have been impressed with how we've been able to pull stuff. We've had...
And not only audits, but I get calls, from customers if they have a hot job or whatever, and I can give them information live. And that builds a lot of trust too.
Credibility.
Pull it up there and tell them everything about the job and have that transparency.
Training, like tracking on like tasks and things like that adds a lot of credibility and it's a lot easier, especially as our organization gets bigger. Before we used to sit down one-on-one or in like an all employee meeting and train. And now we can like assign them by user positions. And that shows it's easier for people to be responsible for their own training, but it also enables us to show that in an audit setting a lot more effectively, I would say.
Well, that feeds back to the maintaining records you're talking about. It take a lot of effort, but if you build it in a way that it doesn't take as much effort to keep it current, it's just time you're not asking someone to do this instead of that other thing.
Yeah, we can onboard people faster with that too. And
yeah, that's kind of a pain point for those people, just entering data, but not using it.
Right. Do you feel like those systems have helped you scale at the 100+% that you're talking about? Like
ProShop?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it's the number one reason why we were able to scale. So we knew we wanted to grow. And then we also knew the pitfalls of growing in manufacturing. So, like I said, at that point when we came back to join Procter Tech, we were 15 years old as a company. So we had gone through many business cycles and many ups and downs. And we understood cash conversion cycles. We understood working capital. We understood, getting new equipment in, what it would cost. So with ProShop, like one of the things that drove me nuts more than anything was I just didn't know my sales. I didn't know what I was going to ship 2 months from now.
Got it.
I knew like
with the clipboard system.
With the clipboard system, I was trying
capacity planning and things like that.
Right when I came, I was trying to do exports from QuickBooks or like enter dummy invoices as soon as we got a job, so I could do a CSV export with the pivot table to try to get some sort of something that was forward looking.
Sure.
But quickly it was within about a half year, I'm like, we have to figure out a way to be profitable on a month-to-month basis.
Right.
Because we were profitable like on a quarter-to-quarter basis,
Right.
but that is not a fun roller coaster
No.
to ride. And we knew we wanted to grow, and some of our customers were looking at these jobs, and it's like, well, how am I going to buy this material? How am I going to process this job? How am I going to wait for payment? So we were very choiceful, and then with ProShop we started, having that visibility before a job shipped. So now we can see our current backlog, but then also like our upcoming, and for scheduling it helps a lot too. So even though we had a high growth rate, it was still throttled for where it could have been, because we knew too it's easy to say yes, I can do a job, but that will flame out very quickly if you can't deliver.
Do you feel like those visits, those tours, those audits have the ability to give live answers to a customer? Has that contributed to them wanting to lean more into?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, 100%. Most of our customers buy off of like our trust type relationship. So it's more, they're more sensitive to, can they trust you to get the job done, than other variables that might be associated. Like they don't have, 18-month lead times where they can price shop around. They're just looking for a competitive offering from someone that they can trust and is transparent.
And then in terms of like within audits and things like that, we're able to pivot a lot and show a lot of objective evidence that maybe we didn't prepare in advance, which shows credibility that our data integrity is good, because we're like, sure, pick whatever work order you want. I can show you anything. And I think they like that because it doesn't look like we're trying to hide anything. Like everything is open.
Yeah, we had this buyer that we worked with, and he said, he'd been in hundreds of shops. He said, if I walk into a shop and they have chaos behind the curtain, I will smell it out instantly. And so like your point of, no, these are the work orders we have to look at. Please don't look anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's just the biggest red flag.
I know.
I've been saying for a long time, and you just reinforced it, that like companies like the ones you serve and the buyers, they are in the risk mitigation business. Our goal is to make sure that if they place a PO at a fair price, that it comes in on time with good paperwork and quality.
Yep.
And their jobs are on the line if they don't. Right? So building that trust is essential to winning more business and saying, yeah, we have the systems to demonstrate that we will be that reliable supplier that you need. So it's great that it seems to play out here.
I think ProShop enables it that we can have, if you're a smaller company with a clipboard, you can be like the owner and be able to build that trust. But ProShop really is enabling us to have multiple people within the company be able to start building trust and provide that data to build that trust with buyers, which without ProShop, I don't think we would have been able to do that. We couldn't just call the office manager and say, where's the status of this job? But now like it is at her fingertips. She could potentially pull that information. So,
and do you have other people we're interfacing with clients directly?
We're building it out.
We're building it. So we're interfacing from the quality function. We're interfacing from like on-time delivery function with like schedule updates, for sending vendor POs, sending like shipment data tracking. We're working on building out like the sales function to have more people. So, but with our crazy growth, we've tried to maintain that a little bit closer to the chest.
Yeah.
Just to not bite off more than you can chew. Because I actually don't think it's particularly challenging to sell in this industry.
Not anymore, yeah.
It's much more challenging to fulfill the order than it is to sell the order.
Interesting. Yeah. It's a funny dynamic because, it's just at an NTMA meeting, and there are some companies like yours that are just first on the scenes and records, and there are others that are like, yeah, it's kind of a slow year for us. And I'm trying to understand the difference, right? Maybe it's just the markets they serve or their approach to sales and marketing or something.
Yeah, from what I hear, I think it's primarily the markets that are doing it more than anything.
Yeah.
So
You guys are pretty diversified, right? You're in medical, you're in space, you're in aerospace defense.
yeah, fairly diversified, and we're also on the end of the market where they're like more they're shorter lead time jobs. So it's not like 18 and 24 month
Right.
out in the future that we're bidding. That's actually something that 2 or 3 years ago
we had to figure out what did we want to be. When Andrew and I joined, we were like, okay, we have more overhead. We want to grow this company. What sales are we going to go after? Who's our ideal customer?
we kind of the DLA.
Yeah, we went after DLA. I was reading through all the contracts, got all the training. We won some. And then we're like, I don't know if this is our ideal customer.
It takes a year to convert this order.
Of like $7,000 or something.
So, which might be fine for a legacy company that has a big backlog of that type of work, but that is not good type of customer profile to grow at the
quickly.
We want to grow at.
Sure.
At all. So very clunky.
Yeah. Well, let's change directions and talk about the shop floor.
Okay.
When we were doing the tour, you introduced me to a couple of your lead machinist folks, guys, and they seemed pretty favorable and pleased that it help them do their job better, give them the information you needed. And you just talked a bit about maybe the switch from how the clipboard system used to work and how they would receive their data versus what it is today.
So I guess the biggest switch for them was just more of a transparency on what they're working on, and then also gives them more agency to do what they want to do with the jobs. So before they could buy their own, they could source their own tooling, like get a quote and get it ordered. It's just much more straightforward now, because when they are programming a job, they don't have to go and look at the bin of drills or the rack that's labeled, but if they just go to the tooling module and sort by size. Programmer's workflow now starts before it used to start. We get the clipboards all set up with the information, schedule a meeting, bring everyone in and sit them down in the room. Now it starts as soon as the PO is entered, the part level is created, the work order router is created, then we just assign it to a planner and send it to them digitally. So it's kind of split that workflow of having to sit down in a room to an asynchronous workflow where they can review it on their own time. And then when everyone, if we need a meeting, like if it's a complex part, then everyone can come more prepared. And it's a quick 10-minute meeting with way more better outcomes than doing that hour per view where everyone's seeing it the first time.
Right.
So, and it's also other ways it's changed is it's giving them a lot more visibility to tooling that we already have, or the fixturing that we already have, or a machine that we have available that we can do it on, versus before it was more you had to go to each individual area to get it if it even existed at all.
Got it. Just so you can get a feel for what jobs are anywhere and how long they're going to be going and where you're going to slot it in to make it out time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were just saying, you guys adopted the tooling module right off the bat. And that's something that speaking of onboarding a system over a long time and choosing which modules to tackle first, tooling is one of the ones that many companies choose last.
Oh, interesting.
And you guys were like, let's go. Tell us a little bit about why.
It was one of our biggest spend areas. And it was a spend area that we felt that we could easily control. We weren't spending more and getting a better result. We were spending more and maybe having the things that we didn't need. They weren't there on time. People didn't know how much they cost. Like a $300 drill, if it breaks, you don't want to load another one in and try again. You have a $10 drill, that's a different story.
Sure.
The $300 drill, figure out why it breaks. So we wanted to reclaim a lot of costs there. And then as we were getting more into the aerospace work, our number of tools that we had just was exploding. Different formals, cuttings for every single radius, diameter. different size drills, different coatings on drills, different thread sizes.
Sure.
Cut tabs, form tabs,
And
thread mills, single point thread mills.
the previous system was just an Excel sheet. So when we brought it over into the tooling module, we realized we had duplicates. So we had to go and clean that up as well from like the legacy tooling list that we had. So,
And we were around that time when we were implementing ProShop, we were targeting more batch production work. And that's what I was saying before, is that the perishable tooling spend per part, especially on Inconel batch production, became a super high risk and meaningful part of the cost.
Oh yeah.
So we wanted complete control, visibility to that.
Sure.
Right off the get go.
So did you find yourselves in the situation that many shops do, where they had a combination of way too many tools and too much inventory in some places and too few? So like your machines are running out of tools, plus you have an excess, and certain ones you don't actually need that much of.
Exactly. And then we were actually on a push inventory system, but it still wasn't adequate enough.
Okay.
So with the change, not only did we do the tooling module right away, but we went right to a pull system. The other thing is we could input like the lead times right there on the tooling module page. So it, like I've been saying, just gives more agency to the machinists and the programmers to make the decision on how many we need to order. Costing is right there too. Costing wasn't available to them, so they didn't know.
Right.
Sure. Most of our people, they were very cautious of cost, being a small company, but in my opinion, too much for some areas and not enough on others. So for cheaper tools, you don't want to risk it all.
Right.
Just get a bunch of them.
yeah, you don't want the machine to be down. So like just buy more for those. But it was like a learning experience for people to change their mindset on that.
Yeah. But for a $300 through coolant, small drill, don't order 5 of them. If that's half of the NRE charge that you're getting to even do the full job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
When you see the invoice show up, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Who bought this? Where are they?
And who approved it?
Do you have any, ROI is a funny term, a funny, concept in software, but, you said you couldn't have grown at the same rate without a system like ProShop or using it. Sometimes this question is easier to answer when it's, a more historic company and they're just kind of sort of status quo, and they change things and they see some savings and they see throughput happening. When it's so dynamic and you're growing like you're growing, it's hard to put a number, or something anecdotal. But just any idea of like the investment that you put into it versus what it's help you do on the backside?
Yeah, it's very difficult to tie it directly to ProShop. Just like the machining industry and manufacturing in general, there's a lot of operating leverage. So if you want to increase your profit margin, you can go and tackle perishable tooling spend, material spend, scrap. You can look at scheduling off shifts to spread out fixed costs. The thing that made the biggest difference was with ProShop, we just had the visibility to see the operating leverage and to go after it. And from that standpoint, our margins have doubled, more than doubled actually. Since we implemented ProShop, our sales have gone up by many multiples without saying specifically. But all of that was very calculated business plan decisions with the information that we were getting in real time and before it happened through ProShop that we did not have before.
And we wouldn't have been able to get the data. It would have been coming from too many sources and we would have had to manipulate it and spend hours and hours upon it. In ProShop, it was all built into our daily work process. So that enabled us to make those decisions over the last 2 years.
Yeah, there's no extra work. I just click on the sales dashboard and, you see everything coming up. And,
Right.
And then you can go on the individual jobs and your highest hitters on job costing to see And then you can go on your atomic software and just making sure it all converts.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I think that's most of what I wanted to ask. Anything I didn't? I know there's a much longer list of questions. I didn't have some notes. Anything you wanted to share that I didn't ask or didn't get into?
The question is memorable moments
Yes.
over the last
Yes.
few years, and one of the ones that stuck out the most is when we got our first rubber machine. Where that was the first machine that we had more general purpose job shop type machines, but we had a part that we were running, and it was a profitable part, pretty modestly profitable part. But then we got the right tool for the job, and just everything changed. So that was kind of a big light bulb moment for us.
Right.
And that came after Pro Shop, but it was kind of connected. It's like you don't get bonus points for struggling through something, and just because a job or a type of part isn't the right fit for you doesn't mean it's not the right fit for someone else. So when you get that feedback, oh, maybe you're a little bit high here or a little bit low on this cost, it just drives those conversations with customers. Like, here is why I can be super competitive with this part, or, here's why I'm not the best fit. But this is the type of work I am looking for.
Yeah. I like that. You don't get bonus points for struggling through something.
Yes.
No.
No.
No, we just care about the part and the quality package and the same time.
And if you have the data to figure out what can make that a profitable part and even more profitable, like Andrew said, identifying the material, the size, and then like what is the right like machine tool out there for us to make these parts even better. And maybe it's a brand that we were not familiar with. It just made sense though. It was like, Andrew and Bob and Heidi and I went back and forth. We're like, I don't know, should we do it? Like, we're not familiar. And then we're like, but all the numbers, like the specs make sense for these parts. Like, let's do it. And then from there on, that's kind of our approach for parts moving forward, I'd say, and which machines to invest in.
Yeah, 5 of those.
Yeah. And we're also big fans of standardization.
Yeah.
So you can only have so much of it being a small company, but so for as much as we learned getting the first one in, now having 5 of them, it just makes life so much easier.
For everyone, operators, programmers, like standardized.
Much better value to the customer too, because you have much more capacity and you're not single path if anything happens on one of the machines.
Yeah. Ooh, very wise. Well, I love the way you guys are building this company. It's I love how thoughtful and methodical you've been. Even just like from the earlier conversation where you guys had gone through this, and Heidi said you guys got a grant for helping do this this process.
The succession planning.
Succession planning, but that triggered so many things, like the sales and marketing push, and software, and that's the way. I feel like having talked to hundreds of shop owners, there's not as many of them are as sort of methodical and planning out the trajectory of where they want to go. They're just like along for the ride. But you guys are really directing it, and I applaud you for that. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, part of that is just we're fortunate that it was the right time for the company too.
Yeah.
Because the early days were sort of like that. Where,
Right.
For the first 15 years is you'll take anything that walks in the door that pays so much.
Sure.
But it also makes a big difference growing from a position of strength versus a position of weakness or having to do it.
Yeah, depending on how the market is and things like that too.
Well, I think people will find a lot of takeaways about how they can, maybe model what you guys have done and being proactive about growing the business. And thanks for the conversation. Thanks for being a customer. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Cool to see you.
Yeah.